Welcome to More Based Off, where reactions are based on facts, commentary is based on experience, and every opinion is rooted in real talk. If you enjoy honest conversations, hit like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Alan Thompson here with More Based Off, coming to you with the latest on what's going on ASI. Well, we knew once Marcus got back in town that there would be uh, some piping hot tea, so to speak. Man, oh man. So we're gonna talk about Kash today, and yeah, and my thoughts on Kash and her possibly being the next breakout star on Atlanta Street Interviews. Uh, the talk has been, oh, Feisty is fired, or what's gonna happen with Feisty. That's been a talk for some time at this point about Feisty. And as we know, with anything, you know, characters come and go. That's what anything in life, you know, nobody is on top forever. Um, so, anyways, um, but I was watching the Cash video last night, and I said we gotta talk about this because Cash was in rare form. First of all, because most of the time, to be quite honest, Cash don't ever have anything much to say. But according to Marcus, most of her videos get lots and lots of views. But I think it's more of the interest of, you know, her lifestyle and all of that. I definitely think it's more so that the curiosity, because that's a human thing, to be curious about things that possibly, you don't know much about, or, you know, and all of that. So I definitely think that's more like where a lot of her her popularity, I guess you could say, her popularity comes from, um, is that curiosity factor, right? So, um, so yeah. So, anyways, oh my gosh, she was saying a lot for a change, and it was almost like she was a different person. And we've kind of seen that before, when people become different people on this channel. Once they start feeling themselves, right? They become almost different people, and I could kind of see that side coming out of Cash yesterday. Um, so the first thing, let's talk about this first. I love going down this little street here. See this hill that you go down? I like going down versus going up, of course, but it's a good workout to go up. So yeah, a lot of people don't realize how mountainous LA actually is. So, anyways, first things first. First of all, Marcus told her that her spicy scene is the highest viewed scene on the spicy content channel or website. Okay, people, we gotta talk about that, because as much as people, criticize that community and the LGBTQ community and all that, it's clearly a lot of interest there. If that's the highest viewed spicy scene, and you gotta wonder, well, we already know a lot of it is the people that are just curious. What would that look like? What would they do? And then it was with Polo, another popular character on the channel. So a large percentage of it is the curiosity factor of people, not necessarily an interest in that's what they like. But on the other hand, you got to think about the people that do like it, and that's a large percentage of people too. And my question is, who are these people? That's what I want to know. Like, who are these people that seemingly like this? Because again, Marcus always says he gives the people what they want to see. So you got to wonder a lot of times when he says that, though, is it what they want to see, or is it what you want to see? Because I agree with a lot of people when it concerns Marcus and this stuff. A lot of this stuff, I think, is his own doings and what he likes, and it comes out more and more. Um, with the scenes that he does with when the people he asks to do spicy content, and it's just such an interest that he seems to have that you got to kind of wonder, because what do they call it? It's called voyeurism when people like to watch. So it's so funny when Marcus was like, "Oh well, nah, that's not my thing," or when people ask him about uh, being with Cash or liking uh, those type of people. I'm staying away from using that word just because, yeah, I'm just going to be careful with certain words. But and he says, well, no, that's not my thing, but there's other people you need to, be questioning, da 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 da. But he doesn't realize that voyeurism is a thing, and yeah, you might not act on it, but it might be something in your mind that is a turn on about it, and that you like filming it and watching it because the first thing is, I remember he had Kelsey film the first one with Cash, or not Kelsey, Dominique. And then all of a sudden, with the one with Cash and Polo, Marcus filmed it. And we all know Marcus has some type of weird obsession with Polo. So again, yeah, you might not have acted on certain things, but you got some interesting tendencies as a heterosexual male that, and that's why people ask the question. So it's almost like when he gets offended, I'm like, you can't really get offended at the obvious of what people are going to ask when they see you doing certain things. But anyways, this is not about Marcus, this video. It's about Cash. So let's get back to Cash. So he told her that she is the highest viewed spicy scene. So right then and there when he said that, I said, oh, here we go. So he is eyeing her for um, being the next main character because he's looking at what? The numbers. Highest spicy scene views, spicy scene. Her videos have consistently always done well, have, and according to him, been some of the highest views. So in his mind, it's like he's having all these issues with spicy with Fiesty now. Um, in his mind, why not make Cash the next focal point of the channel? Because clearly, again, there's a huge um, interest in Cash, and what, like I said, whether it's from curiosity or just people that are into that. You know, um, so my prediction is we are going to be seeing a lot more Cash. He's going to be having her do a lot more crazy stuff, and like I said, what I saw from her yesterday was a different side where it was almost like with Feisty, where she was kind of always a little more mellow, and then all of a sudden when she started becoming more the main character, her whole personality changed, and that was what I saw um, yesterday with Cash. I'm like, okay, who is this person? I'm like, because she was talking a lot, and she kind of had a certain attitude about certain things. Well, first of all, she started it off with talking about how she was upset with Troy's World. There's Capitol Records over there, y'all. So I showed you guys from my rooftop one day. So how she was upset with Troy's World, and I'm like, what the heck? And I know people do get upset with Troy from time to time because Troy is Troy. I mean, for the most part, everybody loves Troy. But then, every now and then, Troy, he'll say some things sometimes, that, for some people can get them a little riled up. But then whatever she said about what she was upset about, honestly didn't make sense. First of all, here we go again. If this is going to be a main character like Feisty with Cash, you don't ever know what the heck she's talking about. You never know what she's talking about. So um, it's like, what? Is that a complete sentence? Like, so whatever she said about Troy was like something about her mugshot, of her looking like a man. And of course, in the mugshot, she wasn't all done up, and she was upset about that. And then she mentioned something about her actually, um, her actually um, confronting Troy about it. She said she met. Okay, y'all, I'm back. My phone stopped recording. I'm glad I realized it because I was just running my mouth, and I think my alarm went off apparently. And I didn't realize that that cuts you off when you're recording. So note to self: don't keep talking when that alarm goes off because it cut the recording. But anyways, I was saying how Kash was saying she was upset with Troy, and she said she messaged him on YouTube, which I find that hard to believe. And anyways, but like I said, the reason was random and it didn't make much sense. So I was just kind of like, what is she talking about? But then she kind of moved on quickly from that. Because I'm thinking like the mugshot, I'm like, Troy's not the only person that showed, excuse me, that showed that. And yeah, he's not the only person that showed that. Like, and I mean, I don't understand why these people don't realize once they decide to reveal their lives to the world that people are going to talk about it and things are going to come out and people are going to show, I mean, there's celebrities in their minds, remember? So that's kind of what you open yourself up to. And then especially in this case with them, it's like they're not celebrities is the thing. Like at least with celebrities, they have a talent and then people just talk about them. But with these people, they don't have any talents and they just spill all their business. So what did they expect people to do but talk about their business when they're the ones telling all their business? So when they all say that part about, well, people, they always want to say this one. Yeah, they're gonna have a lot to say because you're telling people all of your personal business. Like, that's kind of how that works. And yeah, some people are gonna get it right, some people are gonna get it wrong. But unfortunately, you're the one that has made the choice to tell the world your business. So it is what it is. So anyways, but yeah, that's what Cash, so then, she went on to tell a lot about different people she's been with, and even saying she's been with a stud before. And yeah, and that was shocking because it's like, okay, well, how that work, you know? And then she talked about how she had been with a woman before. And so now let's get into this part. So this part Marcus was loving. Of course, whenever he hears somebody from the LGBTQ community say they've been with a woman, well, how was the, he calls it cooter cat. Well, once you got a taste of that, didn't that just turn you and make you realize what you were missing out on? Let's talk about this. This is the part where you realize how non-intelligent Marcus is. Because first of all, let's go back to, well, in my case, I know in middle school we took a sex education class. Then, definitely by college, I know I took a psychology, human sexuality, psychology class, psychology where they talk about human sexuality. So there should be kind of a basic understanding of how this stuff works. Now, I get it. People have different religious views and things like that of why they agree or disagree with it. But human psychology is human psychology. And if you study it and you study human sexuality, it's pretty clear on what is what and kind of the psychological reasons behind a lot of things. Even though, of course, there's still always questions and every case doesn't apply to every scenario and all of that. But again, use just a little bit of your brain. You wouldn't even ask certain questions because it's like, well, that didn't turn you to make you want. It's like, no, if she feels like she's whatever she is and has certain sexual desires towards a certain, sex of people, then that's not going to just change because all of a sudden, that's, I mean, ask him, he need to ask himself the question. If he, if if he's with a man, okay, so now that you got a taste of that, are you interested? If you're not into it, you're not going to be into it. Now you may experiment, which it sounds like that's what Cash did. And, in a moment, it might be whatever it is, but it doesn't mean all of a sudden it's going to just magically change your desires, you know. But anyways, I'll get off of my soapbox about that. But when people just kind of say ignorant things like that, I'm just like, first of all, who really, in my eyes, I'm like, who really cares? I don't really care about what your interests are, who you sleeping with, I don't care about any of that. But a lot of his questions are so for him to supposedly be so open to the LGBTQ community, and the questions he asks, it's like you're so supposedly accepting and open to them. You need to have a better understanding then. And I'm confused at what the confusion is. Like the confusion more so seems to come from his biases. To be quite honest with you, that is the main thing that it seems that um, his questions come from. It's more his bias. It's like it's not almost like it's not that he doesn't understand or um, it's not that he doesn't understand. It's that he doesn't want to understand, and he wants to hold on to what his views are about it, which is fine because we're all entitled to our views. But then don't ask stupid questions. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, so yeah, so that is that, and so of course he wants to do another spicy scene with Kash because of course she had the highest views. So yeah, so my thing is, it seems he's found his replacement for Fiesty, so to speak. Because, like I said, it seems I now what I will give Marcus credit for. Well, let me not use that word credit. What I will say about Marcus is he is strategic in certain things, and he kind of knows that Feisty has fallen off, and he knows he got to kind of focus on somebody else, and that's what I saw with him putting that video out. Fresh off vacation, come back. Who do I need to talk to first? You know, and then like I say, we saw a different side of Cash that I feel like we've never have really seen before, and it was quite interesting to say the least. And then let me say this as well: any man that I'm just saying this, these are my opinions. You know, any man that can't see that that's not a naturally born woman, I have to question. I don't care how put together she looks. Men, let me just give you a word of advice. You need to start looking at more clues than what you see visually, and I'll leave it at that. Like, you know, look for a few more clues, and it can be very apparent. Um, so, yeah, I'll leave it at that. um, so yeah, but I think Cash, she seems like a cool person, a nice enough person. I do think that how certain people it's like, oh, something's not right about that. So far as people's hearts and stuff. She seems to have a good heart. She seems to be getting kind of fed up with certain things people says, and that's coming out where she will speak on that. Um, but I can kind of understand that. And then what else? What else was she saying? I'm trying to think. Like what else she was saying. That I wanted to touch on because we of course we can't leave anything out. We got to cover this topic because yeah, she's seemingly, like I say, about to be the next breakout star. So yeah, oh, she touched on her childhood. That's what else. That was interesting. So again, a lot of the questions Marcus asked were silly, because she talked about when her dad sent her to boot camp because of the feminine behavior. And Marcus actually asked her, was that what actually happened? Is that what turned you out to make you become this way? And again, it's like, you do realize that's not what, now again, every case is different. There are cases where things can happen and it affects their behavior, but it's not the case in every case. And actually, Cash had already told us with her, that's just the way she's always been. So, but yeah, that was interesting to hear about that boot camp and the reasons her dad sent her. She had a lot of animosity towards her dad. Until this day, she says she actually has a sister that's a stud. So a lot, like I said, a lot came out about Cash that we've never heard before because a lot of times she doesn't have much to say, and then her grammar is so bad that half the time you really don't understand what she's talking about. But this time for the first time, I kind of understood most of what she was talking about. So I said, okay, well, she's doing better so far as being able to express her ideas and all of that and get her point across. I guess is more what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So what do y'all think? Drop it in the comments. What you think about what I had to say about Cash. Do you think she's going to be the next breakout star? Do you think, yeah, Marcus is priming her to be the next breakout star of the channel? What do you think about just what I had to say about Cash? Just keep it, of course, respectful. But give your opinion about it. Like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment, and let's keep the discussion going. But I had to come to you guys with this news about Cash. I feel like out of all the videos, this was the one that yeah, is going to be kind of the one people are talking about, and kind of going to be probably looking forward to seeing more from Cash. So yeah, if I forgot anything, I'll pin it in the comments so we can continue the discussion. But enjoy your Monday. I know a lot of people back to work now, and I'm just on my morning walk before I start my day. And yeah, well, let's keep the discussion going. Uh, Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for watching More Based Off. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with someone who would enjoy it too. Your support helps to grow the channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, my Cash App is on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.